Good morning, my name is Graham, this is We Are Racing, and we're joined today by
Cappi. How's it going, guys?
Lekker. Your channel, Cappi?
Cappi Z-Drift.
Cappi Z-Drift.
Yeah.
And what are we doing today?
Putting back a gearbox that we took out.
Who takes a gearbox out? Well, of course, the gearbox we're talking about is this little oak over here, affectionately known as the CD009, which comes out of the Nissan 350Z HR and later models. And we've already started jacking the car when we realized maybe we should switch on some cameras.
Some cameras in our car.
Yeah, lekker. So let's see how it goes. So as you can imagine, safety first. Always get your car into jack stands when you're working underneath it. You do not want this thing to surprise you. Cappi is going around the car now, actually shaking it to see if we can't get it off the jack stands, to make sure that we're not going to do anything that's going to cause us to be in trouble. Yeah. Even though we're not taking off the wheels, there's just not enough space for a human body underneath if this thing comes crashing down. Shall I get the new clutch so long?
Yes, you can now.
So we decided, since the gearbox is off in any case, last time we inspected the clutch, it's got a lot of meat left on it, albeit that the clutch is quite hard. For some reason, and I can't explain this, the clutch being hard, it doesn't slip. So this clutch has been really good. These 350Zs are known for overheating their hydraulic fluids, and then the clutch will actually just go to the floor, the clutch pedal. And this is easily fixed by putting additional heat shrink around the lines, and as well as replacing the fluid from a .4 to a .5.1 brake fluid, which can handle much higher temperatures. Yeah. Cappi and I discussed this morning, and we decided, you know what, the gearbox is off. We're probably never going to take this gearbox off this car again for as long as I own it. We might as well just put the new clutch in.
Yeah. Just to go back to Graham, if you want to see an install video on how to heat shield and change the clutch fluid, check my page. I've got a video on that.
We'll stick a link to that down below.
Clutches aren't very light, eh?
New clutch plate. New pressure plate. I'm going to clean this off with some brake cleaner, just to make sure that there's no gaggies on here, some oil or anything that's going to affect the performance of the clutch.
Yeah.
There's a thrust bearing in here as well, which obviously we're not going to use.
Yeah, that's for a normal BE.
Brake cleaner, not sponsored. Old clutch plate. Now, as you can see, you normally measure how much of a clutch is left by the space in between the rivets and the surface. And you can see this one has plenty of life left in it. But as I said, it just doesn't make sense to take a clutch off and not replace it, or a gearbox off and not replace the clutch. Also, if you look at it from this side, and I hope you can see this, this new clutch has got a fair amount of more beef to it. It seems to be a little bit more higher performance clutch, so we'll just rather put that in, since we do drive these things hard. So when you replace a clutch, you will need a, is it called a gudgeon pin? What's that thing called?
It's a clutch alignment tool.
Clutch alignment tool. Something that has this rough profile.
Yeah. So generally it's a little plastic mold of an input shaft, typically.
And the purpose of that is really just to line the clutch up, the clutch plate itself up to the engine in terms of the gearbox, so that just now when we put the gearbox back in, you don't have to contend with the clutch being out of alignment.
Yeah. So
now we're lucky. We have a spare input shaft for a 350Z gearbox. So we can pretty much align this thing quite perfectly, which is going to save us a lot of effort putting the gearbox back in.
Yeah. So usually with a lot of aftermarket clutch kits, that you end up getting that alignment tool with. For some reason, this OE style.
Yeah, this kit didn't come with
one.
With
so
the alignment tool.
lucky.
We sorted though.
Yeah. Brake parts cleaner, just so I can do the flywheel. Thank you.
Cappi is cleaning off the flywheel inside there also. Since it's open, we just want to clean it nicely and make sure that there's also no oil, grime, anything on there that's not supposed to be there.
Okay, so there's no real, they don't give a pattern in which to follow, alright? But we all know whenever it's bolt settle in a circle, you want to go crisscross, just so that you don't pull it in skew. But this is a two-stage torquing process. Step 1 will go 14 newtons across, so across all the bolts. Our torque wrench unfortunately doesn't go that low, so we set it as low as possible, and we'll nip it and make sure it doesn't click on that first nip, and then we should be around there. It's just basically to seat your pressure plate against your clutch disc. And then we got our second stage, which is 39.5 40 newton.
So what Cappi is doing right now is, as he's torquing down the bolts, Each one that we now know is properly torqued down because we've gone around a couple of times, gets a little blue mark. So we know that that one's finally torqued and we don't have to go back to it. gearbox mated to the engine,
Yeah.
and now we can start bolting up.
Way easier than we expected.
Way easier than what we expected. But you know, as Cappi said, at his second rodeo, this is not his first rodeo. Torque settings. There are two types of bolts here. They refer to as A and B. Jeez, check how dirty I am. A and B. A is 8 of.
Yes.
8 of them, and they need to be torqued to 75
Newton, yeah.
Newton meters. And the B bolts are the smaller ones. There are 4 of them,
Yeah.
and they torque to 40.
45,
46.
47.
47.
Yeah.
47 Newton meters.
So just for reference, easy reference, the 4 of set at the bottom of the bell housing,
Okay, so the 4 at the bottom of the bell housing.
and they come in from engine side they screw into the gearbox.
So yeah, they screw the wrong way around from the engine into the gearbox.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then the ones at 75 Newton, they all screw in from through the bell housing into the block.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see if we have enough space to get a torque wrench in here.
46. Another thing, and I did say this or tell you this in the previous video, when you're using a torque wrench, you always set it up for what you need to do right now, and then make sure to release it completely after you've used it every single time. So the reason we took these covers off the engine over here, there are 4 Cappi.
That you can do from the top.
Yeah.
2.
Bolts that we can really only do from the top.
Yeah, the rest you can get from the bottom.
They're just very difficult to get from the bottom.
Yeah.
So took off the covers so that we can get our hands down here, which is not the most pleasant thing in the world, and do up those bolts. So Cappi, what happened?
We ended up giving away a piece that we need for the clutch with the other box. Luckily we can get it back. It's with the box is being rebuilt. It's the link between the CAC, so the concentric slave, and the clutch line.
Lovely.
So yeah, we can't connect the clutch. Everything else is done.
So everything done, just can't connect the clutch. Gearbox is in, exhaust is in, drive shaft is in, everything sorted, but we can't finish the job. Is that about it?
That's about it, yeah. But we will not stop there. We are determined to at least start the car today.
Sweet. But more or less a wrap for today then.
Yeah, I think so. Alright.
Cool man, thanks Cappi.
Cheers.